Mr. Lunch. Hi, Alan.
Good evening. How are you?
Oh, okay, I suppose. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, you feeling better? Everything healed up?
Yeah, but still
Tired, huh?
exhausted, but
Yeah,
tired.
oh boy. Takes time. It takes time. It's amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. All right. Well, Baruch Hashem for Shabbos, you get a chance to rest a little bit.
Yeah, because I won't have to answer phones.
Yeah. Well, at least it won't rain. You won't have to worry about any rainy roofs or something, leaks or something.
Well, during the week I was home, but I was working,
Right.
answering
Yeah.
calls.
Right. By the way, did Alan's son move into the neighborhood on the corner of Beverly and Las Palmas? And he's in there now? Alan's son.
No, that's the daughter. That's the daughter.
Oh, the daughter. I see. Oh, the daughter.
Yeah. The one who was living in Canada.
Oh, that came down. Oh, okay. That's good. So he works in the business now?
No, she works with him, yes.
Oh, good. Okay. Good.
She
Okay. That's
in
good.
his business, in Alan's business.
Okay.
Okay. 60. Samech Ahmed Aleph, 60. She'ein Mishalem Knas B'Mefuta, that normally, if a man rapes a girl and doesn't want to marry her, he has to pay a fine. But we talked about a Kohen who married her, and even though he has to divorce her because she was not a basula, he doesn't have to pay the knas because he had married her. Also, Rav Gvia mi Beik Seal. Rav Gvia came from Beik Seal. Amr Lishmaitza Kamed Ravashi said the sugi in front of Ravashi. Amr Le. V'harav Rav Yechid Amr Tavayu Bogeres umukas eitz lo yisa. A Kohen Gadol cannot marry a Bogeres because her psulim are lacking just by aging, or if she was injured by a piece of wood. Vim nasa nosli. But if he marries her, they stay married. Why? Because I'm a soifelios Bogeres tachtav. Because anyways, she's going to end up a Bogeres under him, and soifelios mukas eitz tachtav. So hachanami soifelios bula tachtav here as well. If he married the girl that he raped, he shouldn't divorce her either because for the same svara. Kasha. But then we said anusas chaver mufutas chavero. If somebody else raped her, lo yisa. We're talking about a pnuya. Vim nasa. What if he married her? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Amar Avlad Chalal. He's going to hold that because she's a halachic zona. The Chachamim Avlad kosher because they disagree that panuya bala pnuya is not a zona. Amar Ravuna Amar Rav Halachic Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Chen Rav Gidol Amar Rav Halachic Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Ikadam Amar Ravuna Amar Rav. My time Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Several like Rabbi Lozer that panuya bala pnuya is zona. Frankly, more mitzvah lokavas. He doesn't hold like him. Kaimelon Mishnas Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Kavanaki. And v'ilu b'ha'am Rav Amar Rav ain't like Rabbi Lozer. We paskin not like Rabbi Lozer. That panuya bala pnuya, a single man with a single girl in Judaism does not create halachic zona. They can marry kohanim afterwards. Kasha. So that bleibt the kasha. Rav Asher b'yesh chalal machayve asay kamiflagi. Is there chalalus when you violate an asay? Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov says yesh chalal mechayve asay. So it says, Ki im besula me'amav yikach isha, lo yichal zar me'amav. So there's a connection between violating the assay of not marrying a besula and becoming a chalal. Rabbanan Sarvein chalal mechavi assay. My time in Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, the chsiv amana grusha v'chalal zona et ela lo yikach. Ki im besula me'amav yikach isha. Immediately after it says v'lo yichalel zar b'amav, which referring akulu, not just the lavim, but even the asay. But Rabbanon says the eile es eile lo yikach hifsika inyan. It is not. There's no chalalus regarding the asay. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omar eile lemute nida. Somebody has relations with the nida. Kohen has relations with his wife. This doesn't make her a halal, and the children are not halalim, and doesn't make her a zona. There's no halalus when you have, even though it's prohibited relation, it doesn't create zonus, and it doesn't create halalus. Come on, Kol Yezber and Yaakov. Afraid the Gemara quoted Rabbi Eliezer that the halalus apply to all of the things, including the asay. The Torah should have written nichtav la'ela lebasof, not in the middle. Kasha. Torah Abara. Achoso arusa. A Kohen is supposed to, a Kohen can be metame to his primary relatives. Now, once his sister gets married to a Yisrael, he can't go to the funeral anymore. Well, what about if she got Kiddushin? Rab Meir, Rab Yehuda Omer metame lo. That Kiddushin doesn't cause a problem. He can go to the funeral. No, even the Kiddushin to Yisrael prevents him from going to her funeral. Anusa mafuta, if the sister is raped or seduced, divra kol ein metamela, because she's got to be roy lekoin gadol, and this an anusa mafuta had bia. We'll see. The Gemara will explain that. Umukas eitz emetamila de Reb Shimon. If she was
Just a regular coin or coin gadol?
a regular coin, could marry a bu'ula. Only a coin gadol cannot.
So, but this is only talking about if she was raped. I mean, a coin gadol cannot go. It's not talking about coin gadol then.
No.
This is
This is regular din of a regular kohen, and the rule is going to be if the achoiso is not roy la kohen gadol, that's why he can't go. Even a kohen hedjed can't go, but the kohen hedjed could marry a bu'ula.
yeah.
A kohen can marry a number.
So that's big chiddush there. Has to be ready for a coin gadol. Okay.
So mukas eitz also emetamila de Reb Shimon. Shahai Reb Shimon oimer ru'uya la kohen gadol metamila. A Kohen can go to his sister's funeral if the sister is roy to marry Kohen Gadol. She'ein roy la Kohen Gadol, ein metamila. Here it is, right in the Gemara. Uboigeres metamila. Now, just because his sister became a boigeres, now we learned yesterday that her psulim are lacking, but that doesn't necessarily mean he can't go to her funeral. Divrei kol adam. Everybody holds that. My time Rab Meir, Rab Yehuda. Darshi hachi v'lachoso absula prat lanusu mafuta. The achoso, who is a virgin, who's a psula, to her he can go to the funeral. Lachoso absula prat lanusu mafuta. They are not besulos, and therefore they're excluded from the they can. If the Havyasar Haliday Ish, if they were raped by a human being, that would be a problem, as opposed to by a broomstick, which makes her a mukaseis. Akroiva l'rabas arusa. The word kroiva is to say that in arusa, he can't go to her funeral. He can't go to a funeral if they're an onus or mafuta, but he can go to their funeral if she was an arusa. A lav l'rabos habokeres. That is, if the sister was older, and even though there's a lack of basulim, that's not a problem for funeral. Halam alikra. V'amar Rav Meir psula afilu mixas psula mashma. Psula means even a little bit of psulim is enough. Why do I need another pasuk? Itzrich. Kasakadach and nail of psula psula mehasa. Malahala na'ara has to be a na'ara. We said that a Kohen Gadol has to marry, not a boy geras. Avkan naminar kamash belong. That no, when it comes to a funeral, we're less stringent. So the halacha is ena kohen metam lachois arusa v'afilo arusa's kohen. Says the Rambam. Even if a kohen made her an arusa, so she's not connected to him anymore to go to the funeral. In this garsham and arusin, but if she got divorced from that guy and is not married, then he can go to the funeral. Boy geras umuka says kohen metam lachois shelo nivel leish. A kohen can go to the funeral as long as she hasn't had bia. Whether she's katana boy geras, that means mukas H, she could go. But anusa mafuta, he cannot go to the funeral. If she was raped or seduced or had bia, the sister, he cannot go to her funeral. Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Shimon, my tamayu, darshi hachi. They darshan differently. They include mukaseitz as the prat. That it means only a psula can he go to a funeral, but not if she was seduced, raped, or damaged by a broomstick. Asher lo haisa prat larusa. That's a kiddushin with havaya, that he can go. Like Reb Meir held. Hakroiva l'rabos arusa shenis garsha. Even a rusa that was, Asher lo haisa pras larusa also excludes, because it's only haisa li'ish. Even though she's not an Eshes Ish Legamri, it's still from the pasuk we say he can't go to her funeral. Hakroiva l'rabos arusa shenis garsa. If the sister became an arusa and got divorced, he can go. A lav l'rabos lesabogeres. So according to this shita, only an adult sister he can marry. He can go to the funeral. Otherwise, he can't. Now, akroiva l'rabos arusa shenis garsa. You said akroiva comes to say you can go to the funeral if she was an arusa and got divorced. V'amar Rav Shimon. By the way, what time tomorrow is the daf called for in the Kolenu?
Hold on, I'll check for you. Give me 1 sec.
Please.
Give me a sec.
$6.15.
Okay, good.
There we go.
Okay, 6:15. We'll have the
No.
daf at 6:15. V'amar Rav Shimon. If she's royal Kohen Gadol, he can go to the funeral.
Hold on a second. Just hold on a second. What time is mincha?
7:05.
Okay.
But Motzi Shabbos, you can learn Motzi Shabbos?
What time is Shabbos over?
8:23.
8:28. 8:28.
If we'll have to see. If most of the people are coming to the daf
Okay.
in person,
Okay, no problem. I can do it myself. It's okay.
it's hard for you to come to the shul.
Yeah, I can't walk that far. Sorry. No, it's okay. Go ahead. I'll learn anyhow. I prepare anyhow. So Shabbos is a good
Well,
day
let's
for the
see.
kids.
I might be able to do it at 9 o'clock. I'll call you, Alan. Okay.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you.
Why don't you have it?
We are learning the Navi Shir Sunday night at 8 o'clock, the regular time. Okay. Now, he says that the criteria by which you can go to your sister's funeral is if she's royal Kohen Gadol. If she is Metamila, Shein royal Kohen Gadol Emetamila. Now, you just told me that an arusa that got divorced, you can go to her funeral. Well, that doesn't fit Rab Shimon. Kohen Gadol can't marry a divorcee even from the Kiddushin. So the Gemara says, "Ein echanami shani hasam de Rabbi Rachmana kroiva," because the Torah used the pasuk kroiva to include her. Yachi mukasetz nami kroiva. Why didn't a mukasetz? We said Kohen Gadol could marry because it's not done by human being. It's not done by a behema. So achas v'lo shtayim. There's only one heter, not two. It's only one inyan. So arusa that was divorced is included. Marisa. Well, what's the logic? Why do you choose that over the other? Oh, ha'is yavid b'maisa. The mukas ate a maisa happened. Now grusha, nothing happened. Somebody gave her a kiddush and then gave her grusha, gave her divorce, not a maisa in her goof. Ha'is yavid b'maisa, and that's why we're more lenient regarding the kiddushin and the getting the divorce. Rabbi Yossi Minishafke Lebar Zuge. Now Rabbi Yossi left his pair, meaning Rabbi Shimon, because he agreed by an arusa. It seems like Michlad the Mukasetz Rabbi Meir Svirle, that he holds like Rabbi Meir regarding the Mukasetz, that he goes to the funeral even though she was a Mukasetz. Benole. Because the mukasetz, it didn't happen through bia. You already used that drasha. So chad milahaisa, the chad milaish. So we have two drashas. Elav l'rabbi sabogeres. Elav came to teach me that a sister who is a bogeres, the kohen can go to the funeral. And a bogeres loses the psulim, and therefore wouldn't fit Rab Shimon's criteria. So he also learns the svara the Dor Shachi Midei Elav l'Rabbi Sabogeres. Michlal de Psula Psula Shleima Mashma. Because you need a complete set of Psulim. And therefore the Bogeres didn't have to be written at all. Tanya, Reb Shimon Yochai Oimer. A girl is converted to Judaism before the age of 3, can marry a Kohen. That's what the Gemara says, but it's not how we paskin. It's not how we paskin. We'll see the Psak Halacha soon. But the Gemara starts off that the opinion of Reb Shimon Ben Yochai is that if the Gioris became a Gioris before the age of Bia, she can marry a Kohen. When they went to fight Midian, they said all the women children, Asher lo yadu mishkav zachar chayulachem, you can keep them as long as they haven't had bia. Vare Pinchas imohem, and Pinchas was there, that was given permission. Pinchas was a kohen. Must be that if they're under age of bia, they're kosher. The Rabbanan, what do they say? Who don't agree? Lavodim l'shfachos. What do they mean that you could keep them? Not for wives, for avodim and shivcha knanis. So ihachi bashal shav yom echad nami. So why couldn't you keep bashal shanim also for avodim and knanim? And maybe they should be permitted to kohanim as long as they didn't know mishkav zachar, according to Rav Shimon Ben Yochai. Ravuna Rami. Ksiv kol isha yodas ish lemishkav zachar harogu. You have to kill any woman that had bia. Ha'ena yodas kaimu. So if they didn't have bia, keep them. Michlal dataf. Children bein yadu bein lo yadu. So maybe the children you could keep whether they knew or not knew. Kaimu. Ksiv kol ataf panoshim. Asher lo yadu mishkav zachar chilachem. Implying hayadi haragu. That seems to imply that any taf, even a 6-year-old girl that had bia, you'd have to kill. The Torah is not talking about actuality. The Torah is talking about potential. A girl reaches the age of bia at the age of 3. And that's it. When she's ru'uyli bal, she had to be killed. Bryce says clearly that we're talking about the age where bia can happen. Maybe it means They actually had to have relations. So kishu oimer v'cholataf banosh mashalo yod mishkav zachar v'yomer beru ili bola kos medaber. That's talking about Roy Liboil, Minoyodi. How do you know that? How did they know? How did they test whether the girl had relations or not? So Havirum Lifnei Tzitz, the Kohen Gadol wore tzitz. These girls were passed in front of the tzitz. Kol shepanem oirikos, if their face became green, biyadu she really boil. They knew that she had bia. Or they knew that she was royally boiled. According to the age. That means they didn't do an examination of everybody. They just passed them through the tzitz. If they were above the age, their face turned color. That's why when you look at people that are involved in sexual immorality, they have a green face. Whatever this disease is. They become yellow or green. After they wiped out all the Bnei Binyamin, so there were a few left, and they wanted to find them wives. We learned this in Shoftim, those of us. So they went around Yoshvei Yavesh Gilad, Arba Meos Nar Psula, Shaloya Ish Lemishkav Zachar. They wanted girls that had never had relations. Minoyadi. Now, how did they know? Amrav Kana. So they did a test. They had barrels of wine that were closed, sealed on top, and there was a fragrance of wine. They would have them sit on the barrel. Be'ula recha noidif. If they had relations, you could smell the wine because I guess they're more open, so the fragrance goes through them. Besula ein recha noidif. A besula, then you can't smell the wine. Why didn't we do the test with the tzitz? That means it's done for a good thing. The using the tzitz should be done l'rotzain, like for a happy thing. And here by the shoftim, by the wiping out of it, wasn't a happy thing.
Wasn't the last thing not happy? Because any of the
So
girls got killed.
Iachi b'midyan nami. Let's ask Kenny's question. If that's the answer, then why the same thing by Midian? It shouldn't have worked, because it's also piranhas.
Maybe that's why by Sota also they don't bring it. It's not for a good thing. They could do it instead of for drinking it. They could go by the tzitz by the Sota. The Sota will say it positively.
No. This tested whether you're a basula or not. Sota's a married woman. Sota's a married woman, so she's not a basula.
No, but tzitz would tell you whether she violated or not.
No,
tzitz could do a lot of things.
This was telling them whether they had bia or they didn't have bia.
Yeah, I understand, but I'm just saying in general.
So Sota's testing something else. Sota's testing whether she was unfaithful to her husband. So it's not the same test. Did she have relations in that room that she was sequestered in with that guy? So you have to drink the Sota water to test that.
Well, I think what Alan is asking is, couldn't the tzitz tell you whether she was mezani or not mezani?
Why? Right now, the Gemara told us that tzitz tells us whether they're basula or not a basula.
I understand for this case, but in an hypothetical
that's
case.
what the tzitz could do. It could not tell you. It's not the Urim V'Tumim. The Gemara is telling us what it had the power to do. It could tell you whether they were a basula or not.
So this is the only power that it had? This is the only power that it had?
No. The tzitz was maratzeh for blood, for matamedika blood that was sent on the mizbeah.
Okay, so there's certain things that it did.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
It didn't do that.
And that one wasn't part of it.
It's not a random thing.
It wasn't
You can
programmed.
discover questionable items through the tzitz.
The computer wasn't programmed.
It wasn't programmed that way, right? Okay.
Not programmed. So the Kenny asked a good question. Iachi b'midyan nami. On Rav Ashi lahem ksiv. Lahem lerotzon v'lo lepuranos. But lenochrim afilu lepuranos. means for us. That means by Binyamin it was Jews. That's not l'rotzim. But by the goyim, afilu l'puranos, it would work. On Rav Yaakov Bar Yidi, on Rav Yisrael ben Levi. Allah Rav Shimon Yochai, that pchusim ibas shalosh sharim, the giyoris could marry kohen. On Rav Yaakov Bar Yidi. I want to. Hi, Rabbi Leber. I'm teaching Daf Yomi now. Now, I don't. He doesn't. He shouldn't say anything on that flyer about the two ducts. It just doesn't. Look, the other paragraph is perfect. I sent an email back to you about that. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Rabbi Lepar loves that we're learning Daf Yomi Friday afternoon because sometimes we learn Friday morning, like it. Because remember, we learn at night. So you can't learn Friday night. We do it by Zoom. Why we go into Shabbos this way? By the way, we learn this in Even HaEzer. Giyoris pchusim b'shalosh shanim is not kosher l'kahuna. Rab Shimon ben Yochai said he is, but the Rambam Paskin said it's not. Kohen osir b'giyoris afilin is ger b'yoris pachos b'shalosh shanim. Remember we went through all those Even HaEzer dinim? Yeah. Okay. Have a good Shabbos, Rav Mordechai. Bye. So. Did you hear him say it halacha like him, beferish or michlal? Or was it a general thing? Miklal. Darvish ben Levi, Ir Achas Haisa B'Eretz Yisrael. Shekar le Ar. It was a city called Ar. V'shige Rebbe is Rebbe Ruminus Uvodka. Rebbe sent a shaliach, Rav Rumnus. I guess there was a Gioris who married a Kohen. And he found that she was a Gioris prior to the age of 3. And Rebbe said, they can stay married. Amr lei, no, beferish merely. I heard it beferish. And now, if he heard it mechlala, what would be the difference? Because dil mishani osam hol v'insiv. Because maybe once they got married we wouldn't force a divorce. But maybe lechatchila we wouldn't do it. The Harav Rav Yochanan Amar Tavayu boigeres umukas eitz. A boigeres umukas eitz, a kohen gadol lo yisa should not marry. V'im nasa nasui. But if he married them, they stay married. Well, there's no comparison over there. There's a svara of soif aliyos boigeres tachtav. He's going to live with her, and she's going to be a boigeres tachtav according to age. And soif aliyos bula tachtav, whether it's umukas eitz or boigeres. So we allow it. If he married her, l'chatchila, we wouldn't allow it. But b'diavad, we let them stay married. Hacha, here, she's a zona. She's a halachic zona, a gioris. We can't allow that. Rav Safra Masala Miklala, the Kashale, and he learned like this. Ahu kahana, the insiv gioris pchusim b'ashal shav yomecha. There was a kohen who married a gioris who was Megayer before the age of 3. My high. What's this? Zilapik. Take it out. And if not, I'll take out Rav Yaakov Bar Yidi from your nose or from your ears. So, in fact, the Rambam paskins like the end of this Gemara. Koyen Asr B'Giyoris. Full stop. Afilo nisgaira biyoyso pachos mibashal shram yomecha. V'shalo k'divrei Rab Shimon. V'imnasa moitzianoso. If a Kohen marries a Gioris, you have to force a divorce. Important halacha comes up all the time. Okay? Very good, gentlemen. Have a great
question. The question is a Bulgaris. Why? A Bulgaris is really not it's not a halachic zone. She never had relations.